What's going on, people, man? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Now that I slowed down in life, you know what I mean? Because in my teenage and in my 20s and in my 30s, I was just too busy trying to survive my own elements to even know about how black people got jerked. How we got jerked. And the more and more I dig deeper, the more angry and appalled I get. And the crazy thing is, in the 90s, we didn't have this internet access like this. We didn't have YouTube where you could just put anything up there, and whatever you decide in your brain you want to research, you can research. Just learn. I did not know about all these massacres. I did not know about Lake Lanier. I did not know about all the stuff that happened to our people, man. Coming up, when I came up, like I said, in the 80s, when I realized what was around me, I was in the projects. Everybody around me was poor. Like, nobody owned no land and no buildings. Pissy hallways, roaches, rats, welfare block of cheese, the food stamps. That's all I knew. But I didn't know in the early 19th century, like 1901, 1906, 1921, that black people owned our own. We had our own movie theaters, doctors, lawyers. We had our own land, our own towns. And these folks bamboozled us, tortured us, took our land, buried our towns underwater. Yeah, this lovely flag you see behind me, because the day, what's coming up? Labor Day, right? Holiday, right? These lovely stars and stripes. These are not stars and stripes for your black ass. Couldn't get loans for the farmers that had farms back then. It wasn't no equal opportunity loans. So the black people lost their land on tax liens. This don't upset you? This don't make you mad? This lovely flag. God damn, knocked my keyboard down. Done turned my joint on. I guess the devil is alive. Because I done knocked the keyboard off the thing, done got me off the screen. But you pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for the white people. Ain't no justice for no black people. You don't think we deserve reparations? I know you're tired of hearing my mouth, right? Well, I have evidence. I come with the evidence, people. I come with the evidence. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to provide the evidence. Of how black people got jerked on American soil. This flag. Shouldn't these people feel ashamed of themselves? No, they don't. They really don't. All the blood on their hands. Like how they did Crawford. Mr. Crawford, the way they lynched him, shot. He was already dead when they beat him in the shed with pipes and hammers and everything. Then they dragged him through the black town on the back of a pickup truck. Dragged him. Then they hung him and riddled. They said they shot his body to pieces because he was prominent, because he owned a lot of land, because he was wealthy as a black man.
By the 21st century, 90% of the land had been stolen from them. Now, African Americans only own 1.1 million acres of farmland and are part owners of another 1.07 million acres. Across a century, white farmers and landowners developed multiple ways to take African Americans' land, using methods such as violence, heirs property, tax sales, and Torrens Acts. Of all these, the Heirs Property Act is still in force today, as black owners lose every source of wealth they've created for generations. To understand the magnitude of this land theft, we must examine the extreme measures taken by those who captured the land from African American landowners. Both laws and practices allowed white landowners, farmers, and developers to manipulate the system so they could gain control over the land owned by African American farmers and homeowners. In this video, we're going to take a look at the 4 ways black Americans were robbed of their land and how these robberies still occurs today.
Did you know over $150,000 of investment capital at 0%?
Before we get right into the video, please smash the like button and subscribe to the channel to keep informed of our eye-opening black narrative.
Oh, and by the way, these are pilgrims dry snitching on pilgrims. They the ones that's telling us this information. There's nobody black feeding us this information. These are pilgrims telling on pilgrims. Salute to the pilgrim that's telling us this information.
Untold numbers of black Americans became landowners following the Civil War, when the government handed over some 20 million acres, mostly in the South, under the Homestead Act. These property holdings could have provided a foundation for black wealth building in post-Jim Crow America. Instead, they became a source of riches for others. Rather than helping to close the racial wealth gap, Blacks' landholdings became a key force in widening it as white people and officials used 4 extreme measures to steal and claim black land. Number one, violence. With black people getting richer and owning more property than ever before, jealous white folks sought to using violence and deadly force to enforce the idea of white supremacy. The Tuskegee Institute and the National ASSN for the advancement of colored people.
Okay, let me stop it right here. That's a black man hanging from that tree. You see all these white people? You see all these pilgrims? Is that not evil? Is that not a devilish type of people to hang a black man from a tree and stand around and take pictures of it and talk? And
People have documented more than 3,000 lynchings between 1865 and 1965. Many of those lynched were landowners, and the goal behind them was to bring an end to black wealth.
Do you not see this? And you know, in Florida, you cannot talk about black history. They ban Black History Month. Anything about black history is banned in the state of Florida. Just imagine if they do that in all 50 states. Matter of fact, when I was coming up in school, I knew about Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey. But they didn't teach us much about it. They didn't say nothing about 1921, Tulsa, Oklahoma. They didn't say nothing about all these massacres. Even Atlanta had a massacre. Yeah. I feel some type of way. And that was just the massacre video that I didn't play yet. I'm playing how they stole the land. Because I didn't know this. I was too busy trying to survive New York and CT. Like, I was too busy trying to survive my own elements to even think about this. But now that I'm far removed from the hood and I got pilgrim neighbors, I want to know how their ancestors treated us. So I take the time now to look this up and research it, because lovely YouTube has everything you want. Anything you want to know about, just go on the tube and type it in. Because see, in my eyes, I thought we never owned nothing as black people unless we obtained it in our life, you know, moving forward. But I didn't know that we had our own land and wealth and all this type of stuff way back then. After slavery, I didn't know this. And they tricked us. They killed us to steal our land. Intimidation tactics to steal our land.
black land and uphold white supremacy. These lynchings were not only done by ordinary white people, but some white officials condoned the violence. Several of them added threats of their own.
Let's also not forget that the courts, the banks, the authorities, the police, everything was ran by these white supremacists back then. We didn't stand a chance. We didn't stand a chance. Like, even if you got done wrong, right, and they put you in jail, the sheriff will let the angry mob come in there and snatch you out the cell and do exactly this. Hang your
James
black
K.
ass from the tree.
Vardaman, who was governor of Mississippi from 1904 to 1908, was quoted saying, "If it is necessary, every Negro in the state will be lynched." With the start of these lynchings, mostly single families were targeted, however, in some cases.
Do you see these people? Listen, man, I don't care who gets upset about this that's Caucasian. Your ancestors did this to us. Y'all stood around like it was an exhibit, like y'all watching a movie or something. That's a human being. That was a human being. He's standing with his hands on his hips like this is like it's watching TV or something. And you think we don't deserve reparations? Fucking gnat, man. This one gnat keep coming around. And you think we don't deserve reparations, people? It's funny how the Indians can come over here. No disrespect, no racial stuff or whatever. But let's. Oh, now they messing with the live. This is a recording anyway. But it's funny how they could come over here and get loans for gas stations and who else? There's another, the Chinese. Everybody comes over here and they get a piece of the pie. But the ones that actually built up this country on their backs, blood, sweat, and tears, and whips, and lashings, and lynchings, and burnings, and everything, we don't get a goddamn thing unless you're an entertainer, a ball player, or actor, rapper. That's the only way. Unless you was born into wealth like Blue Ivy and Jay-Z's kids and whoever else. We don't get no reparation. Well, how come we can't get the real 40 acres and the mule that we was promised? It's just one thing about the black race that nobody wants to see us prosper. We have to really get it out the mud. So is it fair to say the only reason that they up is because they stole and cheated? That's what this video is saying by another pilgrim narrating it.
Cases, entire black communities were destroyed. Floodway created in the 1940s. This town was destroyed by the creation of Kentucky Lake. But at the start of the 20th century, it was a tobacco center with a predominantly black population and a battleground in a 5-year siege by white marauders called Night Riders. On the night of March 8, 1908, about 100 armed whites tore through town on horseback, shooting 7 blacks, 3 of them fatally. The press documented the cases of 14 black landowners who were driven from Birmingham. Together, they lost more than 60 acres of farmland and 21 city lots to whites, many at sheriff's sales, all for low prices. John Scruggs and his granddaughter were killed in Birmingham that night. Property records show that the lot Scruggs had bought for $25 in 1902 was sold for non-payment of taxes 6 years after the attack. A white man bought it for $7.25, about $144 in today's dollars. Land that had belonged to other blacks went for even less. John Puckett's 2 acres sold for $4.70, while Ben Kelly's city lot went for $2.60. In Pierce City, Missouri, 1,000 armed whites burned down 5.
Recall is dropping prices lower than ever before on our all-inclusive Luminaires 200 white owner transfer.
5 black-owned houses and killed 4 blacks on August 18, 1901, Within days, all of the town's 129 blacks had fled, never to return. According to the Associated Press, 9 Pierce City blacks would lose a total of 30 acres of farmland and 10 city lots. Whites would go on to buy it all at bargain prices. In the case of Eveline Brinson, whose house was burned down by the mob, she would sell her lot for $25 to a white woman after the attack. The attacks on Birmingham and Pierce City were part of a pattern in southern and border states in the first half of the 20th century. Lynchings and mob attacks on blacks, followed by an exodus of black citizens, some of them forced to abandon their property or sell it at cut-rate prices. Black landowners were put under a tremendous amount of pressure, from authorities and otherwise, to give up their land and leave. They became refugees in their own country. For example, the Associated Press found that 18 black families lost a total of 330 acres, plus 48 city lots when they fled Ocoee, Florida.
48 city lots when they fled Ocoee, Florida after a 1920 election day attack on the black community. You know, this is not going to go unanswered. God witnessed these devils do this to us. And I got to call a spade, man. Because if the roles were reversed, they'll be calling us devils if we hung them from trees and killed their innocent babies and fed them to alligators. You understand what I'm saying? Like, it's a lot. Like, black people been through a lot on this soil, on this flag behind us. Let me put my big face up here. This flag, we went through a lot because of these stars and stripes. With liberty and justice for all. That's not true, America. You lied to us, America. We deserve reparations. I mean, now that I doing my due diligence, which all black people should do their due diligence, like I'm doing right now, digging in the crates, going back in time, which is not that far away. It's not that far off. I know we in 2023. You heard? But how many years ago was the 90s? The 19th century? It wasn't that far off, people. Segregation wasn't that far off, people. Like what, within the past 100 years, maybe, that you couldn't drink from the same water fountain? You couldn't ride in the front of the bus, you had to ride in the back. Getting sprayed with water hoses. Had German Shepherd. I got a German Shepherd, and I mean, his mouth, they mouth is crazy big. Like, they can fit your whole leg in their mouth. We had German Shepherd sick on us. I can't help. This is what your ancestors did to us on American soil. That's why J. Cass does not represent that flag. I can't. I used to before the basketball games, because I was a basketball star in high school, 3 different high schools, started varsity, never heard of a JV. Yeah, we had to say our Pledge of Allegiance before the game started. But now, I wish I could take that back. Because this country we call America, yeah, it's cool to be free, but the fairness is not fair. Black people deserve reparations. Y'all stole everything. How could y'all feel like y'all doing something, like you proud, when y'all stole and killed to have everything? That's all I'm saying. Because what if we cheated like that and took everything from your ancestors and lynched your ancestors? The word lynching doesn't pertain to white people. It don't pertain to Indians. It don't pertain to Chinese, the Jewish. Lynching equals black people. No other race, When you talk about lynching, black people get mentioned. That's all I'm saying. How could y'all feel proud of yourself when you cheated, man? You cheated to have the porches and decks with them big old white rocking chairs on them. I drive past these plantation homes all the time. Like when I used to go out of state or deep down 75 and 85 South, they got signs that says plantation home that you can visit as an exhibit. Like it's an exhibit, man. They proud that they had slaves that picked cotton. So they make a plantation museum, and it only pertains to black people. That's what I'm saying. So why can't we get our just due? Why can't we get our reparations? That's all I'm saying. We deserve it. Now that I'm doing my due diligence and I'm finding out that y'all cheated and took everything from us, we didn't stand a chance in the world. But I'm going to get off my big face and go back over here to this. We ain't stand a chance in the world, man. It was over for us, you heard? Make it make sense. We ain't stand a chance in the world. It's so sad how we got jerked. We got jerked. We literally got jerked, man. I'm trying to play this video because I remember when the keyboard fell. There it go.
After a 1920 Election Day attack on the black community. According to property records, some were able to sell their land at a fair price, but others, such as Valentine Hightower, were not. He parted with 52 acres for $10 in 1926. Today, the land lost by the 18 Ocoee families, not including buildings now on it, is assessed at more than $4.2 million. Sometimes individual black farmers were singled out and attacked by bands of white farmers known as the Whitecaps. Operating in several southern and border states around the turn of the 20th century, they were intent on driving blacks from their land and discouraging other blacks from acquiring it. Whitecaps often nailed notes with crudely drawn coffins to the doors of black landowners, warning them to leave or die. The warning to Eli Hilson of Lincoln County, Mississippi, came on November 18, 1903, when Whitecaps shot up his house. However, Hilson ignored the warning. A month later, the 39-year-old farmer was shot dead as he drove his buggy toward his farm. The horse pulling the buggy trotted home, delivering Hilson's body to his wife, Hannah. She struggled to rear their 11 children and work the 74-acre farm, but she could not manage without her husband. She lost the property through a mortgage foreclosure in 1905. Land records show the farm went for over $400 to S.P. Oliver, a county supervisor. Today, the property is assessed at over $60,000. It wasn't just whitecaps and night riders who chased blacks from their land. Sometimes officials did it. In Yazoo County, Mississippi, Norman Stevens and his twin brother Homer ran a trucking business, hauling cotton pickers to plantations. Stevens' widow, Rosie Fields, would reveal the harrowing story that unfolded years later. One day in 1950, a white farmer demanded that Stevens immediately deliver workers to fetched the sheriff. That evening, the brothers found themselves locked in a second-floor room at the county jail. They squeezed through a window, leaped to the ground, and ran. Fields said her husband later told her why. They had overheard the sheriff, now dead, talking about where to hide their bodies. Fields said Stevens and his brother quickly flagged down a bus to Ohio. A year later, she and her 5 children joined them. For a decade, the family made mortgage and property tax payments on the house they left behind. Records show. But it was hard to keep up, and they never dared to return, Fields said. Finally, in the 1960s, they stopped paying and lost the house they had purchased for $700 in 1942. One of the most brutal cases of racial violence to claim black land was the story of Anthony Crawford. Crawford was a rich black American who
This is Stephen K. Bannon. Now more than ever, the U.S. dollar is under unrelenting assault. You see what Washington, D.C. has done. It's only going to get worse. Very quickly, the national debt in our nation will pass 35.
inherited farmable.
Listen to this, people. They did this man dirty, man. I'm glad I wasn't living back then, because I damn sure would have took me out of slave master, but they would have killed and shot me up and burned me and lynched me. But I damn sure would have took out a few of them with me. They would have went with me. Shit is crazy.
Land on his father's death, which he increased by substantial land purchases in 1883, 1888, 1899, and 1903. In the mid or late 1890s, Crawford was co-founder of the Industrial Union of Abbeville County, which was devoted to the material, moral, and intellectual advance of the colored people. He was also the father of 12 sons and 4 daughters. Crawford was without doubt one of the richest men in Abbeville County. However, his prosperity had made him a target. The success of blacks such as Crawford threatened the reign of white supremacy, as at that time there were obvious limitations or ceilings. White neighbors could at any time do something violent and take everything from them. That day would come for Crawford, leading to this untimely demise. On October 21st, 1916, Crawford was taking 2 loads of cotton and a load of seed into Abbeville, and had a disagreement over the price of cottonseed with W.D. Barksdale, a white store owner. Barksdale offered Crawford 85 cents a pound for his cottonseed. Crawford replied that he had a better offer. Barksdale called him a liar. Crawford called the storekeeper a cheat. 3 clerks grabbed axe handles and Crawford backed into the street, where Sheriff Burtz appeared and arrested Crawford for cursing a white man. Crawford was held at the jail briefly and released later that day on $15 bail. While Crawford was arranging bail, Barksdale was organizing a mob with McKinney Can to whip Crawford and cure him if possible. Sheriff Burtz allowed Crawford to exit from a side door, but the mob saw him anyway and pursued him into a cotton mill nearby, where Crawford took shelter in the boiler room. McKinney Can entered the boiler room after Crawford, and Crawford, grabbing a hammer from some nearby tools, knocked the man unconscious. Although the mill workers attempted to stop it, Crawford was stabbed and severely beaten by the mob. Sheriff Burtz appeared and arrested Crawford once more, much to the chagrin of the mob of whites. The sheriff could only get Crawford away from the mob by promising to the brothers of Can that he would not try to sneak Crawford out of town before the full extent of McKinney Can's injuries was known. As it happened, Can was not badly hurt, although Crawford was. He was treated by physician C.C. Gamble, who also happened to be the mayor of Abbeville. Gamble announced that Crawford would likely die from his wounds. Sheriff might and abducted Crawford. Crawford was dragged down 3 flights of stairs amongst a cheering, bloodthirsty mob, where they proceeded to beat him with rocks, wagon boards, jump and spit on him. The mob then dragged him through the black section of town with a rope around his neck as a warning. They then stole a lumber wagon from a black driver and used it to take Crawford to a fairground nearby. Crawford, likely dead by that point, was still hung from a tree, and armed whites riddled his body with bullets, rendering it to a bloody pulp by the bloodthirsty white mob that resented his wealth. The paper's headline the next day read, "Negro strung up and shot to pieces." To hide the truth, the county coroner reported that Crawford had died at the hands of parties unknown. That night, the relentless mob decided they needed to drive Crawford's children and their families from the area. On October 23, 1916, the white citizens of Abbeville, including many members of the lynch mob, voted to expel the remainder of close down all the black-owned businesses in Abbeville. The Crawfords requested they be given until the November 15th, and it was granted they were to leave by mid-November. They did indeed leave, leaving behind their families' generational assets. Number 2.
Most people have no clue that in 2023, the best way to make money on Amazon is not with physical products.
You know, when I listened to this, right, my eyes welled up a little bit. You know what I mean? Tears, like just of anger. The way they did this, man. But this is what happened on this soil, man. This lovely flag, and we supposed to pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Did you not hear the story that I just displayed to you? That's liberty and justice for all? Huh? Y'all had to cheat to get ahead. Remember that. You had to cheat to get ahead. So this is why we the greatest race on the planet, because we persevered to have a Jay-Z or a Tyler Perry or Oprah or Russell Simmons, all these wealthy people. If you remove us from the NFL, it won't be no NFL. It'll be boring. If you remove us from the NBA, it will be boring. Y'all can have golf. We don't really care about. Even though we had Tiger, we don't care about golf. Y'all can have hockey. Even though we got one black or maybe a few good black hockey players, we don't care about that. Y'all can have tennis. Even though we have Venus and Serena. Huh? Y'all can have tennis. But like I said, do you think black people deserve reparations? You see what I displayed, right? All you got to do is type it in and see for yourself. Huh? These people had to cheat to get generational wealth. They had to cheat, steal, kill, lynch, burn, torture black souls to get where they are to this day. You think that's gonna go unanswered? You think God is really gonna allow y'all to do what y'all did to us and it not be answered? Y'all so-called pilgrim Christians, do y'all really think you're gonna get away with this? That's why I kind of believe in the Israelites when they say we are the chosen race. Look what we've been through. Oh, but I'm not done, because before I hop off of this, I'm going to tear up my own race. Oh yeah, I'm gonna lean into them. But I got to talk about how these people cheated to be in charge of everything. They had to cheat, steal, rob, and kill. They are the real thieves on this soil right here. And guess what? The evidence and the receipts are there. Y'all killed, y'all intimidated black people to take their land. Y'all feel proud that y'all did that? That you had to cheat? You ain't earn it honestly. You didn't earn our land honestly. You tricked us, you killed us, you shot us, you lynched us. And upstanding, y'all thieves. Y'all the real devils on this soil. To do that to people in so many different states, so many different massacres, and it's all written. It's all receipts. The receipts is on YouTube. Y'all feel proud of yourselves that y'all cheated to get everything, but y'all quick to talk about black people this and black people that. But look what y'all people did. And let's not even talk about the Indians. That's sad. That your ancestors did that, man. Sad. Y'all had to cheat. That's sad. We didn't cheat. We never owned shit. So how could we cheat if we never owned it? Y'all took it from us. But let me get to y'all Negroes. Oh yeah, you know I'm about to get to y'all. What you thought y'all was left off the list? You know what I'm saying? Y'all definitely not left off the list. But then you got these stupid Negroes doing this, huh? In all states, in every different hood.
There's nothing more powerful than you making your thing happen, really going for it, doing business on your terms, giving it your all, making a difference, and loving what you do.
And then I'm gonna hop off real quick.
Every single day, feeling fearless, fulfilled, free, when there's nothing holding.
Shut up.
A weekend of violence across 6 on the 1800 block of East Pike Street. 2 women in their 20s and a man in his 30s are all stable tonight. And in Logan, 2 teens are stable following a shooting on the 5100 block of North 11th Street just around 6:15. An 18-year-old was shot in the wrist and a 17-year-old boy shot in the legs. And this all comes as police investigate a deadly shooting on Independence Mall. Tonight, there have been no arrests in any of these shootings. I'm Shayna Ferreira. The Independence Mall shooting happened on a busy Saturday night. An area typically filled with tourists and people out and about during the evening. Our Ellen Kaloje starts us off tonight.
More than 24 hours after that shooting happened, we still do not have a lot of answers. But some people we talked to here around Independence Hall say they refuse to let what happened here keep them away.
It's important to not let things hold you back. You need to keep going out there, keep seeing the world, and don't live in fear.
On this beautiful day, the birthplace of America is bustling with tourists. Tourists like Kayla Katana and her dad, who saw police around Independence Hall Saturday night, but did not let that stop them from coming out today.
You hear about it all the time because people report on it all the time, but it's not happening everywhere all at once, everywhere you go.
Police say Saturday night about 9 o'clock, gunfire erupted just steps from Independence Hall at 5th and Chestnut, causing chaos on these busy streets. A 29-year-old man was shot twice and died later at the hospital. Another man was shot in the arm and taken to a nearby hospital. And some Philadelphians say they've had enough.
You want to come out, you want to have a nice day, you want to have a nice night, and right now it's like everything that goes on, you have to worry about it. There's violence everywhere.
But some folks visiting the city from out of town say they realize violence is everywhere, and they refuse to let this shooting force them back to their hotel.
A lot of police, but I see a lot of friendly people around, and we enjoy it.
I don't know exactly the state of Philadelphia, but I can tell you in New York we have seen a deterioration, we'll say, of civility. So, again, it's I'm not that concerned. It could happen in any city.
Hopefully somebody can come in and fix it, but I think right now it's to the point where we see it getting worse and worse.
Now, police still have not released the names of either of the victims, and they still have not made any arrests in this case. In Old City, Ellen Kaloje, Fox 29 News.
The reason I put lead gen on a license plate Lamborghini is because the fastest way that I found to 6 figures a month and 7 figures a year in revenue. I do it all working from home as a one-employee company. I've helped Conrad generate it.
So you get what I'm saying? I know you like, well, Jake has. The two don't connect. Well, they don't. But in my eyes, we the best but the dumbest at the same time. Because the real op stole your ancestors' land. The real op don't want to give you no opportunity. And the real op killed off 2 races. And got away with it. And Willie Lynch syndrome, you dumbass, to kill each other. Now that's genius. That's gangster. And in my eyes, they're gangster. They are. I gotta give them that. Whether you like to or not, they are gangsters. They are the gangsters on American soil, man. Y'all the dummies on American soil. So, it's crazy. I gotta live next to the gangsters as long as they give me a pass and don't burn no cross on my lawn or try to harm my family. But I gotta watch out for my own. So some of us OGs gotta try to educate you guys and show you what really happened. And thanks to YouTube, we're allowed to do that. You know what I'm saying? Some of y'all need to wake up. We the only race in the world that been jerked the way we have. We've been jerked. We literally been jerked. Like all this stuff I didn't even know that Atlanta had a massacre. Like all the stuff that black people been through, man. The torture, the torment, like everything. Just taking our land, like burning our towns. All with this flag right here. The flag that y'all represent. The flag that I represented at one point in time, but I'm not proud. I can't fly that flag no more, man. I can't. I know they try to say America's a great place, but bro, when you listen to all the stories and all the pain, I can't rep that flag, man. I can't. That's like spitting on my ancestors, man. I can't, man. Because it's not liberty and justice for all. It's not. It's not, man. And I'm like, yo, J Cass, why you let it upset you? You got your piece of the pie. You got your house with a pool in the back. You know what I mean? You got your little movie room and all that. That's besides the point, man. Look how hard I had to struggle just to get this little bit of a house. Imagine if my peoples was allowed to keep their land, how much of a house I would have. And you would have. That don't bother you? That don't hurt you? That everything got taken? Everything was stolen from us, man? With this flag representing everything that was taken and stolen. And when you mention lynching, blacks get mentioned. That's it. Nobody hurts. It hurts, man. Even though I ain't been through it, it hurts. When you know the truth about that flag you represent. I'm gone. I'm not going to be up here all night. It's about 8:46. I'm going to catch me some TV time. But I just wanted to chime in and talk about America. These folks had to cheat. Like, it's crazy. They had to cheat, steal, rob, and kill to get where they're at. To be ahead, they had to do us dirty, man. So can we please get our reparations for once and for all? Like, can we get our 40 acres and a damn mule? I got 1 acre. Can I get my 39 in my mule? It'll never change. Because black people dumb.